Volkswagen will have a car that's as good as the Model 3, as the Tesla Model 3, but will be half of its price. That is the claim that the CEO of Volkswagen Group, the quote is going around the internet. He said it on the TV show, and now here's a translation of it. I used Google Translate from the quote, and this is what he's saying, and so it's translated a little bit weirdly, but nevertheless, we will come in 2020 with vehicles that can do everything as Tesla and cheaper by half. All right, there's good news and there's bad news here. One is BS, not gonna happen. So yeah, there's no way. And by the way, he's saying vehicles. I don't think they can even do one. We are talking about this little, it's an ID series car. It's a whole electric car series called ID. This one, I guess, is an internal name for it is Neo. I don't know if it's going to be a production name. They're saying they're going to be coming up with it in 2020 with a range over 200 miles for the starting for the base model. It's going to be at around 28,000 American dollars, and that might be true. Whether or not it's going to be, well, first of all, $28,000 is not half the price, but and is it going to be as good as Tesla? I don't think so. But here's why I think this is actually good news. And by the way, it looks like a pretty advanced car. These are all like kind of a prototype drawings, but I like it. First of all, love the wheel. Kind of reminds me of a Tesla Roadster wheel, right? And here's the one with the heads-up display, which I kind of like, and I wish more companies would do that. I'm not really sure why this technology hasn't really caught on. I think if you buy an add-on for your car, that's like an extra $200. So I'm not really sure. I experienced it in a BMW i8 Roadster when I was in Great Britain and driving around for their event, and I really liked it. I really like this whole. Anyway, so I like the way this car looks, but I'll tell you why this is good news, and I tell you why this is good news specifically for Volkswagen Group. Before that, let me remind you that this channel and this show is sponsored by Avanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla. Everything they promise, they produce, they have, and there's plenty of it. There's a discount code in the description of this video, so go ahead and save yourselves a few bucks. All right, now back to this little cute car. By the way, I don't mind. It looks like a Golf. I mean, and really futuristic Golf. I have no problems with the look. I think it looks pretty cool. But here's why this is good news. I like, we all like when Elon Musk tells us this huge goals and announces huge goals that he has. It doesn't usually achieve them on time, but the fact, they higher the aim, the higher you jump is something that's been embraced by this community because, this is kind of a high-tech community and we like that. So I'm going to say I like that he's aiming high. And by the way, he's now on record. So they better get pretty close to it, or at least try. So that means that these guys are going to be trying really hard, which they have already, with all, the Volkswagen and the Porsche and the Audi. Yes, I think this is not a bad high bar to set that they can reach on time, but nevertheless. Now, I know a lot of you guys are kind of sour on Volkswagen Group, and I was too. Of course, Dieselgate was absolutely unforgivable and unforgettable for sure. We should not forget about that. But I do believe that the new people that are coming, I mean, obviously they paid the price in terms of, 25, 26 billion. The Audi just paid another $1 billion in penalties as well. Audi CEO in jail, Volkswagen CEO is in jail. I believe they paid a really, really hefty price, deservedly so. But at the same time, I think they are the company that now wants to completely distance themselves from this Dieselgate. The Volkswagen Group CEO that basically said that, Diesel might be coming back, was pretty much fired, which really kind of the last piece of the puzzle that for me made sense. And so, this is a story it reminds me of. I remember when I just got here in America, I think it was the early 90s. Well, I know it was early 90s, but, it was Jack in the Box that had this huge scare that a bunch of people got poisoned and nobody wanted to eat a Jack in the Box. But after that, they hired this top of the line people to make sure that their food safety is like of a 5-star restaurant because they didn't want it to happen to them ever again. Otherwise, they would go, belly up. And guess what? one of the safest, if not the safest, fast food restaurant to eat immediately after that was Jack in the Box. So I'm making the same hopeful statement that, you know, because Volkswagen Group has to distance themselves from Dieselgate, they have to make more progress than maybe other legacy manufacturers to prove themselves right and to prove to all of us that they want to have nothing to do with that and they want to do nothing but right. And produce this car. So I think this is why it is not a bad thing that he is making this ridiculously untrue statement, but the bar is set high. And by the way, so these pictures that I'm using, these are graphics from the press kit that Volkswagen produced, and here's one of the pictures that they produced. Can we just concentrate on here? I'll bring up full screen. What the hell is going on there? What, I mean, seriously, and specifically, so let me just zoom in on this one. Is this a guy taking what looks like kind of an upskirt type of a picture with a girl facing him with her booty, and definitely facing away from the car? What was do you really even see the car here anymore? Or this is either genius marketing or like the worst marketing ever, right? Is this even like legal in some of the countries that it might be making it to? I'm asking for a friend. You know, and by the way, one more thing. What century is this in? Look at this. Look at this camera. Look at this camera he's holding. Like, this is supposed to be the year 2020, right? When the car comes out. This is like a century before that. I don't think people who are going to be buying that car will know what the hell this is unless they've like gone to a estate sale of a neighbor that died. This picture has a lot to offer, and definitely the last thing I'm going to notice in that picture is the damn car, or I'm sorry, a horseless carriage, as you would call it, from the times when that camera was made. Let me know in the comment section. I'm just dying to know, what do you guys think? Is this a good marketing image or like the worst one ever because no one's looking at the car? I just thought it was funny. I wanted to mention it to it. Oh, also I want to mention and I want to thank my new Patreon. I really appreciate joining my community. Hakan, thank you so much. And if you guys want to support the show, watch it live, be the first ones to watch it. Also an extra live segment just for the Patreons, for a few extra minutes every day that I do, extra pictures and videos that I post, usually when I travel to different locations. And just thank you for supporting me. And I am now a full-time YouTuber, so this definitely helps. And of course, if this is your first time here on YouTube, welcome. If you're interested in staying up to date on everything that's going on in the world of electric cars, there is a subscribe button, and that one is free. That way you'll not miss anything going forward. And let me remind you, I'm going to be doing subscriber hangouts every Sunday. I'm not sure about what time, but if you just hit that bell notification next to the subscribe button, you will be notified when I go live. And actually, I'm going to make sure it's a few hours ahead of that. All right, guys, looking forward to the comment section on this one. Other than that, see you next time. And remember to stay charged.